Predatory fish share a common attribute of sticking to their hunting zones. While some move about through troughs and edges of structure, or step onto flats to charge at prey, many define a specific feature and use it as cover, waiting for hapless prey to swim past, completely oblivious to their impending doom. It's our jobs as anglers to motor, paddle, or pole onto these hunting zones and hunt these predators, looking for likely habitat, signs of fleeing prey fish, or large wakes of large fish in shallow, or even spotting the predator itself. Predator hunts are often a game of prospecting 2 or 3 edges of holding layers before moving on to the next. You have to be decisive with your cast. It has to be accurate to the edges because you're playing a game of takeaway. You know that fish wants meat, and you're just tantalizing the edges of its feeding window.
Line there. Wow.
Weight forward lines, stiff butt sections of leader that turn over into stiff tippets that don't fray when pulled through reeds, weeds, and logs, and a delayed loading of the rod to full flex so it shoots and turns over right on spot are all imperative attributes. That larger fly lands with a smack just inside that feeding window, and this cues up that predator's lateral line. Reach mends that hook around reeds and other structure are important, and you have to trust your rod to get it where you're aiming. From there, it's a guessing game what will induce a strike. The most famous and best example of how you want your fly to act in the water is to do an in-depth character study of Nemo and his lucky fin. Cue up Netflix and watch how he bumbles along, left to right, slightly up, slightly down, then spurts to chase Dory before he pauses, out of breath and compensating for that adorable lucky fin. That's pike food. And this is exactly what really would have happened to Nemo in about 30 seconds had the movie been a little truer to life. But Hollywood doesn't want parents consoling frightened crying kids, so Nemo and his lucky fin miraculously lasted 2 full feature films. Now that we know Nemo is our best friend, let's look at the psychology of a couple of midsummer predators who didn't know Nemo was coming for dinner. If you can cast your fly to the epicenter of Nemo's bucket of doom, you're gonna catch predatory fish. Lots of them. In this case, there were 2 northern pike minding their own business when Nemo flew into the scene. The cast had to be behind the smaller top fish and slightly to its right in order to properly lead the much larger pike in the foreground. Clearly, Nemo wasn't heeding Dory's advice. The only way he was going to escape this quagmire was to keep swimming. He didn't. But that pike was only mildly interested in tasting Nemo's lucky fin. It turned, somewhat amused that Nemo thought he had a chance. But it wasn't until the smaller pike, top left, turned and did a 180 to come snack on Nemo that the bigger pike put an end to it all. The second that fly pulsed like Nemo trying to escape a shark, while another predator was moving in on its food, that pike woofed him in instantly. But don't worry about that second pike. It didn't go too far, and thankfully Nemo's good friend Dory is as clueless as she is. Now that Nemo was out of the way, Dory went for a swim, and we made a special point of lining up right behind the pike and did a pinpoint introduction, swimming Dory right into him. Well, she kept swimming for a few seconds anyway. Note that accurate casts in all cases lead to a much more decisive and consistent hook set. In a predator fish's world, Nemo and Dory would have been extremely short snuff films.
Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. What do? We swim, swim.